guys, what's up? iDriveHD Charlie here, and today I'm doing the review of this device, the Vodafone Smart First 6. And yes, you are right, this is the phone that is going to be destroyed in Destruction Project 5, and that is actually happening later today, so hashtag organised on my part. So, the Vodafone Smart First 6. Well, this is a budget smartphone created by the mobile phone carrier Vodafone. And it comes in at a stupidly £20. So it's really designed, you know, to sort of open up to the masses, to the people on the pay-as-you-go market. Now this device features a dual-core MTK MT6572M processor, clocked at 1 GHz, 512 megabytes of RAM, which is half a gig, 4 gigabytes of internal storage, which can be expanded with up to a 32 gigabyte SD card, which is pretty cool. It also has a 2 megapixel rear facing camera right by here and a 1400 milliamp hour battery, and it does come installed with Android 4.4 KitKat. Now some of you might be thinking, well, you know, what is, you know, the comparable, you know, of this phone? Well, this phone is very similar to the Samsung Galaxy S1 on paper, so that's cool. Now, before I begin the review, let's talk about what comes inside the box. So, what you'll find is the phone itself. You'll find a micro USB cable, a wall plug, some really cheap headphones, a battery, some quick start guides, and the Vodafone pay-as-you-go SIM. So let's talk about design. So this phone's design is actually quite good for the price point, and it's clearly, you know, a lot better than a Band-Aid inspired design, you know, at a certain South Korean manufacturer did on their flagship phone a couple of years ago. But I will say, you know, this phone is kind of thick, you know, it's about 9 millimeters thick, or somewhere around there. This is about a centimetre. So, you know, it does come in 2 colours, black and white, which is the version I have here. I do quite like the matte finish that this device has, and I do like the slight gloss accents that are all the way around the side. Now, I do also like the fact they've opted to go for a black front, and that's just something that I just prefer, and I do like the black and white contrast, that kind of stormtrooper look. But, you know, that's just personal opinion, and, you know, in my opinion, it's fine and it's a good thing. Now, if we go to the back, you'll find the slightly raised camera and a slightly raised edge on this side where the speaker is, to accommodate that, which does look a little bit, you know, irritating, but, you know, it's small and it's fine. In the middle of the phone you'll find the Vodafone logo, and on the bottom you will find Designed by Vodafone inscribed. Now if we look at the phone from the front, we're going to go round the sides. So on this side, which is the left, there is absolutely nothing. On the top there's a 3.5mm audio jack. On the right side there is a power button and a volume rocker. And on the bottom then you have your micro USB charging connector and the microphone. Now if we look at the front of the device, you'll find your Android 5.0 buttons and a speaker. And then obviously the big feature on the front is the 480 by 800 WVGA display. And speaking of, you know, screen and cool things, let's put a cut here. So after the screen we'll do a cut and then we'll go on here. So restart here. So screen. So moving on from the screen, we need to talk about something that's quite odd with this phone. If you take the back of the phone, you'll actually find there's actually no physical buttons on the actual device itself. The buttons are actually on the back cover. Now that is cool because it does mean they can be mounted in the middle and it does give a slick look. However, it does also add some functionality as well is that if your buttons sort of don't work, you can actually get right to the actual physical button inside and not worry about sort of the external case, which I think is kind of, a neat feature that Vodafone have put in. And, it is connected with a rubber band, which is a little bit cheap, but overall I think it does look aesthetically pleasing. And it does sort of give the, reminder of that iPhone 5C era with, black and white, black front, white back. But that was gloss, this is matte, and I do prefer the matte. Now, the display, yes, the 480 by 800 display WVGA with a 233 pixel per inch pixel density, which is not amazing by any stretch of the imagination, but it does just fine. However, the panel itself is not 100% colour accurate, and off-axis viewing is shocking, and even if I hold it, say, this far away, I can still see some pixels. And this display does receive some light bleed around the corners and the sides, but that is not the biggest problem with this display. In my opinion, the biggest problem is the fact this uses resistive display technology rather than capacitive, and resistive is what was on older phones like the LG View-T, the Nokia 5800 Express Music, the LG Renuar. That's what kind of these were, and these were, like 2009, 2008, 2007, This was the era that this technology was in its prime. And capacitive doesn't cost that much more these days, so, and it makes the phone feel very cheap, which it is, using this resistive technology. However, I think, and I will say on later on, that this phone is more designed for kids. And we all know that kids are very, very clumsy, me being one of them. You sometimes, drop your phone and stuff. Because it's plastic, it's not going to crack like glass, which is a good thing. However, I can't help thinking that they're going to throw something at this display and it's just going to just break. And that's not a good thing. But saying all that, it's not, we can't really take it away. Bearing in mind, this phone is £20. Fantastic. Now let's talk about the clump on the back of this thing. The camera, the 2 megapixel terrible thing it is. And I have some problems with it. So the first thing is that it takes 3 seconds to launch the camera app from inside the launcher. And I mean seriously, look at this, right? There you go, it's finally launched. And then, when I want to take a photograph, so we'll say take something down here, 1.5 seconds it takes roughly. That's not good. That is not good at all. And when it actually does take the images, if you look at it on here, they do look very, very dark and very, very blurry. However, when you put them onto an actual second display, they don't look as dark, but they're still blurry and they're still really, really bad. And I have some, if you head over to the iDrown HD Facebook page, you'll see some test images I put up. There's going to be one with a Sony Ericsson Xperia X10 Mini Pro I compared her against, but the main comparison is going to be against the iPhone 6. You'll see what a good top of the line camera looks like in contrast to this lower end, and let's just say it looks crap. Now, the video quality of this is not good. So here's a quick video I made of this panning down my garden, and you'll just see what it looks like. Now here it is on the iPhone 6. So, as you can see, it does look really, really bad. However, I wanted to test her in a much lower light situation and incorporate some audio. So here it is on the Vodafone SmartFirst 6. Hey guys, what's up? iDrown HD Charlie here, and today we are doing a video test on the Vodafone SmartFirst 6 with the intention of this test, unlike the other one, to show it performs in slightly lower light, and also how the audio quality is. So if we just do a little panel of my office. And background, and then just a little selfie shot just to finish it. Hi. So yeah, I'll see you in the rest of this review then. And now here it is on the iPhone 6. Hey guys, what's up? iDron HD Charlie, and today we are also doing another camera test for this Vodafone Smart 6 review, but we're using the iPhone 6 this time. So again, we're going to do a panel of my office. And just to prove it is me, hello, and I'll see you in the rest of this review. So as you can tell, it's bad in low light, and it's really where the cost cutting has been made by Vodafone to get this phone really cheap in the name of cheapness. But at the end of the day, it's a camera. It's not major, so Now, this phone has two really cool features that I quite like. It has a micro SD card expansion, which I think should be on every single phone. So Apple, they're never gonna do it, but be nice to have an iPhone 7 with a cheeky micro SD card expansion slot. But this also has a 1400X battery, which can be removed, which is kind of cool. Now, on the topic of batteries, let's talk about the battery life in this device. So you can get a good 3 days in standby mode from one charge, which is good. However, in usual use, I could get it to last roughly about a day, and when I say a day, I'd say 8 hours. However, if I was doing some very light use, it wasn't nowhere near power using. I just did some light web browsing, basic media playback. And I did do a little bit of light gaming. I got about 4 hours, and that was taking the top, but usually it lasts about 2 hours. But if you want to do anything much more advanced, I would recommend getting something better. Even though Moto E is quite cheap, it's still better than this, and that's only about £99. And I know Vodafone have their Smart Prime 6, which is £65, and that can do a lot more than this. Now let's look at this phone's performance, and it's not great at all. It constantly drops frames when I'm undertaking very basic tasks like navigating around the home screen. So don't really expect anything major. These specs are top of the line in 2010, but still, it'd be better than getting this than something like a Galaxy S1, because even though that uses a capacitive touchscreen and has two cameras rather than one, it's Samsung, so it's a premium brand. This has 4.4 KitKat on it, so it's a much newer version of Android. I mean, you can run a later version of some apps, but you're not going to be running like the latest version of something like, I don't know, League of Legends or whatever the top of the line mobile game is. On here, I'm not a mobile gamer, I could not tell you. But anyway, moving on. Like I said, when it was navigating around the home screen, it was dropping frames, but I don't know whether that was due to the fact I installed the Google Now launcher on there, because even though it has almost stock Android, I just prefer the Google Now launcher, as I like my Google Now to the side. But that's not necessary, as it's pretty stock Android. However, if you're not very tech savvy at all, Vodafone does have your back with this, as they've introduced sort of a basic mode which they've called on this simplified home screen. So what you get is you get 3 screens. So on the first screen you get your contacts and your favourite contacts. On the second screen you get 6 apps of your choice and a clock, so that is your home screen. And then on the furthest one, the third home screen, you get a further 9 apps and then access to the major Android app drawer. And this is kind of, quite a cool feature. However, this is as far as Vodafone's experience improvement goes, because this phone, I'm sorry, has bloatware. Yes, this thing has more bloatware than a bloatware device. It has Discover, Smart Tips, My Web, Messages, File Manager and Memory Manager. Now, the good thing about this is that some of these can be uninstalled, which is okay, but others sadly cannot. Now, the My web browser, that is, okay, it's understandable, installing that. But this has 3 web browsers on there. So you've got Google Chrome, just the standard browser, which is on, Android. And then you've got this Vodafone My Web browser, which is just ridiculous. So they should never have, installed this, and I don't even understand why they still included the browser, because Chrome is pro. Now, Messages, it's understandable, but Hangouts is better, it's much more superior. But I'm not surprised there's bloatware on this, because in the United States there is a certain company that is a royal pain in the bum, apparently, for bloatware, and that of course is Verizon. And you know who owns Verizon? Vodafone. So it's not surprising there's bloatware, but it's annoying. Very annoying. Now, should you buy this device? That's going to be the question we're going to try and tackle over the next couple of, couple of minutes. And that's quite a tricky thing, because if you can afford something much better, go for it. Don't even look at this, Don't even look at this. I don't suggest you buy it at all. You should get something better. It's not going to last long, as, Android is already, most flagship phones don't get more than one, major software update. And if you want something that lasts a long time, Apple are the kings of longevity. Their iPhone 4S still runs iOS 9, even though it's not necessarily the best version of iOS you can put on there. It's still the latest one you can run. And this isn't designed to fight with the big boys like Samsung, LG, HTC, the Nexus line, Motorola, and even to an extent OnePlus. But it's going to be fighting of control and to basically annihilate the basic phone category. So that's like Nokia 108s, 106s, Alcatel One Touch 1010s, even Nokia Ashes to some extent. However, this has a very, very, very strange competitor. And when I say strange, it's quite odd that it's, a real competitor to this. And that's the Alcatel One Touch Pixie 3. Now, these have almost identical specs, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're exactly the same phone, except the Pixie 3 has a 3.5-inch display. Now, I don't know whether because this is a Vodafone device, there's a little bit extra in that, but what I can tell you is that this is £5 cheaper, and when you get to that end of the market, there's a big difference. That is like a price up. You should expect a valid step up, and there's not. So is this phone a bargain, or is the Alcatel One Touch Pixie 3 overpriced? Well, what is the major difference? Well, like I said, this is a bigger display, and this runs a stock version of Android rather than an Alcatel skinned version. But the Alcatel has one huge advantage. That can run on Vodafone, EE, Virgin Mobile, O2, any network. This is locked to Vodafone, which means I can't actually do any call tests on it because I'm not with Vodafone, I'm with EE. And, that's a bit of a, pain in the bum. So if, you're in that basic phone category and you're willing to join Vodafone, or you're already with them, and you're looking for a basic phone, this is probably the best thing to get. But if you're not, just jump ship, maybe go just, you'll have to jump ship if you want to get this device. But you know, the Alcatel is a good alternative, but it's a little bit more expensive, a little bit pricier. But even though saying that, still the best basic phone I've had the pleasure of using, so props to Vodafone for that. Or is it Alcatel? But like I said, should you buy this phone? Well, in my opinion, power users, you're looking at the wrong end of the market. You know, you need to be looking at your Galaxy S7s, because that's going to be coming out on Sunday, so that's going to be announced. So by the time this video is announced, hopefully that phone will be launched, so I don't sound like a complete idiot. You know, your HTC One M9s or M10s, because that's going to be coming out soon. Your LG G4s or G5s, because that's coming out soon. And you know, your iPhone 6S's or the iPhone 7, because that's coming out at the end of the year. You know, you need to be looking at that. However, if you've accidentally broken your phone, you know, because some people do that, and you're waiting for your proper replacement to come, this will do just fine if you're with Vodafone. And you know, even if you're looking for a first, you know, phone for a child or someone who really isn't up to date with the tech stuff, look at this phone. You know, it's, you know, really good to take into consideration. But even though it drops frames on the home screen, it has a terrible camera, and you know, all its other little faults, the Vodafone Smart First 6, even though it's a smartphone, it's the king of the basic phones. This is really the ultimate basic phone, and this is really where we're heading, you know. And I think, you know, there are many other devices, you know, under £100 that give a much better experience, like for example the Vodafone Smart Prime 6, which is £65, that has a Snapdragon 410 quad-core processor, 1GB of RAM, a 5-inch 720p display, an 8-megapixel rear-facing camera, which is capable of recording 1080p, a 2-megapixel front-facing camera, runs Android 5.0 Lollipop, and that's £65. But you know, if all you've got is £20, this is, you know, a great device. And I think Marques Brownlee, you know, summed it up the best. Good phones are getting cheap, and cheap phones are getting good. And I think this is a perfect example of this, because this is the cheapest of the cheap, and this is like the price of basic phones. And you can go on Facebook on this, you can browse the web, and you can do, you know, quite a lot of tasks on this. And much more than you could ever do on a basic phone. And that sort of sums it up, really. You know, like I said, I wouldn't recommend it if you're a power user, but if you're looking first phone, you're with Vodafone, go for it. But anyway guys, that's all wraps this up. So if you've enjoyed this review, please give it a like and hit that subscribe button. Remember, if you want to see any test images, head over to the iDragon HD Facebook page and they'll be on there. And remember, if you want to see this phone destroyed, iDragon Destruction, yeah, that's happening later today. So yeah, like I said, you know, like and subscribe, and yeah, peace.